The lantern casts a small circle of warmth on the stone floor. In this softer light, familiar places take on a different quality, older and more still. Tonight we walk the streets and halls of the 3rd millennium BC for an evening in Mohenjo-Daro. Let the centuries fall away, sink gently into your pillow. The day is done, and you are safe to rest. Let your eyelids grow pleasantly heavy. This is quiet history. Let us begin. The sun sinks low over the wide Indus, casting a long, amber glow across the flat plains. The river flows with a quiet, steady persistence, its waters carrying the silt of 1,000 mountain peaks toward the southern sea. Below the horizon, the light turns to a soft, bruised purple, touching the edges of the high citadel and the lower town alike. Here, in the heart of the valley, the city of Mohenjo-Daro stands firm, a monument of red earth and human order. Every brick is a standard measure, fired in the heat of a kiln to withstand the passing of many lifetimes. As the dusk deepens, the heat of the day escapes from the mud brick walls, rising into the indigo sky. The streets, laid out in a precise geometric grid, offer a sense of calm and predictability to those who walk them. The city is a masterpiece of planning where every corner and every alleyway serves a purpose in the grand design. You can feel the weighted history of this place even as the evening breeze begins to stir the dust of the thoroughfares. In the lower town, the houses are built with thick, cooling walls that keep the interior rooms pleasant during the peak of the sun. Now, as the stars begin to peer through the hazy atmosphere, the residents move through their final chores with a measured pace. There is no haste in these movements, only the familiar cycle of a life well lived. A potter sits by his wheel, the clay still damp and cool between his palms. He has spent the day shaping jars and bowls, each one a testament to his skill and the rich earth of the riverbank. The wheel slows to a halt, its spinning motion coming to a gentle end as the craftsman wipes his hands on a linen cloth. The kiln nearby is still warm, the embers glowing with a faint orange pulse that illuminates the workshop floor. Rows of finished vessels stand in the dimness, their surfaces smooth and ready for the market. The scent of baked earth and wood smoke lingers in the small room, a comforting perfume of industry and rest. Outside, the drainage channels that run alongside the streets carry the day's water away with a soft, rhythmic gurgle. These brick-lined conduits are a marvel of engineering, keeping the city clean and the atmosphere fresh. The precision of the stonework is visible even in the low light, each slab fitted with care and foresight. A woman walks toward the central well, her copper bangles clinking softly with every step she takes. The metal is bright, polished by use, and the passage of years reflecting the flicker of a nearby oil lamp. She lowers a terracotta bucket into the deep shaft, hearing the distant splash as it meets the cool underground spring. The water is pulled up, cold and clear, a precious gift from the earth that sustains this sprawling community. She pours it into a larger jar, the liquid cascading with a bright, splashing note that echoes against the brick walls. It is a simple task, yet it is the pulse of the city, the fundamental requirement of existence. In the weavers' quarters, the looms are silent now, their wooden frames standing tall in the shadows. Strands of cotton, dyed in deep indigos and rich madder reds, hang from the rafters like colorful banners. The material is soft to the touch, a product of the valley's fertile soil and the weaver's patient hands. A small terracotta lamp sits on a low table, its wick drawing up sesame oil to produce a tiny dancing flame. The light casts long, shifting shadows across the floor, highlighting the textures of the woven mats and the smooth grain of the wooden furniture. Everything in this home has a place, and every place is filled with a sense of quietude. Further up the slope, toward the great citadel, the buildings become more imposing and grand. The Granary stands as a massive fortress of timber and brick, its many bays filled with the harvest of the surrounding fields. The smell of dried wheat and barley is thick here, a dry, sweet scent that speaks of abundance and security. The Great Bath, a vast pool of bitumen-lined masonry, sits in the center of the upper city, its surface as still as a mirror. The water reflects the crescent moon, which has now risen high above the horizon, casting a silver sheen over the brickwork. This place of ritual and cleansing is empty now, its silence profound and deeply meditative. You walk along the edge of the pool, your footsteps muffled by the dust and the soft leather of your sandals. The air is cooler here, high above the river, and the breeze carries the scent of wild jasmine from the gardens below. It is a moment of absolute stillness, where the city seems to hold its breath in the silver light. In a nearby chamber, a scribe is finishing his work for the evening, pressing a small stitite seal into a lump of soft clay. The seal bears the image of a unicorn and a series of delicate pictographic signs that tell a story of trade and ownership. The pressure is firm and deliberate, leaving a crisp, clear impression that will soon harden. He places the seal in a small wooden box, its surface worn smooth by decades of use. His fingers are stained with the grey dust of the stone, but his movements are graceful and precise. The work of the day is recorded, the accounts are balanced, and the records are tucked away for the coming morning. As you descend back toward the residential streets, you pass a small courtyard where a family is sharing a final meal. They sit on the ground, the warmth of the earth rising up to meet them as they eat from shallow bowls. The murmur of their conversation is low and melodic, a gentle hum that blends with the sounds of the evening. The children have left their toys on the floor, a small terracotta cart and a whistle shaped like a bird. These playthings, crafted with the same care as the great statues, lie in the half-light, waiting for the return of the sun. There is a profound sense of continuity here, a feeling that this moment has happened many times before. A merchant closes the heavy wooden doors of his shop, the iron bolts sliding into place with a solid, reassuring thud. He has spent the day trading beads of carnelian and lapis lazuli, treasures brought from far-off lands across the mountains. Now his wealth is tucked away, and he seeks the comfort of his own hearth. The city is becoming a tapestry of shadows, with only a few lamps remaining lit in the windows of the upper stories. The brick walls, so red and vibrant in the sun, have turned to a deep charcoal grey, blending into the surrounding landscape. The Indus River continues its journey, a silver ribbon winding through the dark valley floor. You find a quiet spot on a rooftop, looking out over the roofs of Mohenjo-Daro as the late hour deepens. The stars are brilliant and numerous, a canopy of light that stretches from one horizon to the other. There is no noise here, only the faint rustle of the wind and the distant call of a night bird. The civilization is at rest, its people dreaming of the harvest, the trade, and the cooling waters of the river. The order and the beauty of the city are preserved in the stillness, a testament to the wisdom of those who built it. As you watch, the last of the lamps is extinguished, leaving the streets to the moonlight. The cooling bricks hum with the lingering energy of the day, a subtle vibration that can only be felt in the absolute quiet. Every house, every well, and every street corner is a part of a greater whole, a living organism that breathes with the turning of the seasons. You feel the weight of the hours passing, each one a step closer to the dawn. In the distance, the silhouette of the mountains stands sharp against the starry sky, a jagged boundary to this peaceful world. The river reflects the celestial glow, its ripples catching the light as it moves toward the sea. The flow of the water is a reminder of the passage of time, constant and unchanging. You lean back against the warm brick, closing your eyes and letting the atmosphere of the city wash over you. The scents, the sounds, and the very feeling of the earth are all parts of a story that is still being written. The night is deep, and the rest is well earned for every inhabitant of this ancient place. The shadows lengthen across the courtyard, stretching toward the high walls that guard the city's secrets. Each brick holds a memory of the sun, a warmth that slowly fades as the moon climbs to its highest point. We move now toward the higher ground of the Citadel, where the watchmen keep their silent vigil over the sleeping streets. The stairs leading upward are wide, constructed from the same fire-baked clay that forms the heart of this great city. Each step is a testament to a geometry of order, a deliberate rise that carries us away from the narrow lanes below. Here, on the higher ground, the breeze is more pronounced, carrying the scent of the river and the cooling silt. There is a sense of elevation here, not just in height, but in purpose, as we move into the civic heart of the Indus. To our left, the massive structure of the Great Bath reveals itself in the silver glow of the moon. It is a marvel of engineering, a sunken pool lined with finely fitted bricks and sealed with a thick layer of bitumen to hold the precious water. In this late hour, the pool is empty of its bathers, leaving only a mirror-like surface of damp brick that reflects the constellations above. The stillness of the water when it is full must be a site of profound peace, a sanctuary for the spirit and the body alike. We walk along the edge of the pool, our footsteps making a soft, rhythmic thud against the solid earth. The bitumen, black and lustrous, peeks through the seams of the brickwork, a reminder of the ingenuity of those who live here. They have mastered the elements, taming the river and the earth, to create a space of cleanliness and ritual. The atmosphere is thick with the history of 1,000 ceremonies, a quiet power that resides in the very stones of the citadel. A row of small rooms lines the perimeter of the bath, their doorways standing like open mouths in the dimness. These were once places of preparation, where the citizens would leave their robes and find a moment of solitude before entering the water. Now they are filled with shadows, the scent of damp clay and old wood lingering in the corners. We move past them, our presence a mere whisper in the long corridor of time. The brickwork of the citadel is a study in precision, each block laid with a care that has endured for centuries. There are no gaps, no uneven lines, only a seamless flow of red clay that defines the boundaries of this upper city. The moonlight catches the edges of the bricks, creating a play of light and shadow that gives the walls a sense of motion. It is as if the city itself is breathing, a slow and steady pulse that matches the flow of the river below. We reach the Granary, a structure of immense proportions that speaks of the wealth and foresight of Mohenjo-Daro. The massive brick foundations supported a wooden superstructure, where the harvest of the valley was stored against the lean times. Though the wood is long gone, the brick piers remain, standing like silent sentinels in the evening. The smell of dry earth and the ghost of golden grain seems to persist in the cool mist, a memory of plenty and prosperity. From this vantage point we can look out over the lower city, a sprawling grid of streets and houses that stretches toward the horizon. The lamps are few and far between now, mere pinpricks of light in a sea of charcoal grey. The order of the city is even more apparent from above, the streets intersecting at perfect right angles, a blueprint of civilization carved into the dust. It is a sight of immense beauty, a testament to the vision of those who first dreamed of this place. A watchman moves along the parapet, his footsteps a slow and measured beat against the stone. He carries a small clay lamp, its flame a flickering orange tongue that licks at the dimness. He does not speak, his gaze fixed on the horizon, a guardian of the peace that has settled over the valley. His presence is a comfort, a sign that the city is well tended even in the deepest hours of the late watch. The drainage system of the citadel is a feat of unparalleled skill, a network of channels that carry the waste and the rain away from the living spaces. We see the openings of the drains, lined with smooth terracotta pipes that disappear into the earth. It is a quiet reminder of the value placed on health and order, a wisdom that is woven into the very fabric of the city. The water moves through these channels with a soft, gurgling murmur, a hidden cadence that supports the life above. We find a small courtyard tucked away between the administrative buildings where a single pipal tree stands in the center. Its heart-shaped leaves rustle in the breeze, a sound like falling rain that fills the quiet space. A stone bench sits beneath the tree, its surface worn smooth by the many people who have sought shade and reflection here. We take a moment to rest, the weight of the day falling away as we listen to the song of the leaves. The walls of the buildings around us are high and windowless on the lower floors, a design that keeps the interior cool and private. On the upper stories, small openings allow the evening breeze to circulate, carrying the scent of jasmine and wood smoke from the hearths below. The architecture is one of utility and grace, a balance that has been perfected over generations of living in this sun-drenched land. Every curve and every angle has a purpose, a reason for being. A stack of clay seals lies on a low table in one of the rooms, their surfaces carved with intricate designs of bulls, elephants, and strange swirling patterns. These are the marks of the merchants and the officials, the symbols of trade and authority that bind the city together. In the moonlight, the carvings seem to come alive, the animals treading across the clay in a silent procession. They are the language of a storied people, a record of their lives and their labors. The texture of the mud brick walls is rough and earthy, a tactile connection to the ground beneath our feet. We run our hands over the surface, feeling the warmth that still remains from the afternoon sun. It is a grounding sensation, a reminder that we are part of a larger story, a cycle of growth and decay that is as old as the mountains. The city is not just a collection of buildings, but a living entity, a vessel for the hopes and dreams of those who dwell within. We move into a narrow alleyway, where the walls rise high on either side, creating a canyon of shadow. The air is cooler here, the light of the moon reaching down in thin silver ribbons. There is a sense of intimacy in these spaces, a feeling of being held in the embrace of the city. We pass a doorway where a small terracotta figurine of a mother goddess sits in a niche, a protector of the household and a symbol of the enduring power of life. The transition from the Citadel to the residential blocks is marked by a series of sloping ramps, designed for the easy movement of people and goods. As we descend, the atmosphere changes, the quiet of the upper city giving way to the soft murmurs of the homes below. We can hear the distant lowing of cattle and the faint creak of a wooden gate, the sounds of a world that is preparing for the return of the sun. The city is a tapestry of many threads, each one contributing to the strength and beauty of the whole. Looking back up at the Citadel, we see the silhouette of the great bath against the starry sky, a crown of brick and water that overlooks the valley. It is a symbol of the unity and the purpose of Mohenjo-Daro, a place where the sacred and the mundane meet. The order of the stars is reflected in the order of the city, a harmony that is felt in every breath and every step. We are travelers in a land of wonders, guided by the light of the moon and the wisdom of the ages. The drainage channels at the base of the Citadel are deep and wide, built to handle the runoff from the monsoon rains. In the dry season they are silent, their brick floors polished by the passage of water. We walk along the edge of one such channel, our shadows stretching long and thin across the ground. The engineering is so perfect that it seems almost natural, a part of the landscape that has always been there. A small shrine sits near the base of the ramp, its interior lit by a single flickering candle. A bowl of offerings, filled with grain and dried flowers, sits before a stone altar. It is a simple gesture of gratitude, a recognition of the forces that sustain the city and its people. The scent of incense hangs in the air, a sweet and spicy note that lingers in the memory. We pause for a moment, offering our own silent thanks for the peace of this late hour. The watchman on the parapet turns and begins his walk back toward the main gate, his lamp a receding star in the dimness. His vigil is nearly over, the first hints of dawn still a long way off. We follow his lead, moving toward the edge of the Citadel, where the view of the river is most clear. The Indus is a silver thread, winding its way through the dark valley, a source of life and a path to the sea. The bricks beneath our feet are cooling now, the heat of the day finally dissipating into the evening atmosphere. We feel a sense of completion, as if we have witnessed something profound and timeless. The city of Mohenjo-Daro is a masterpiece of human endeavor, a place where the spirit of cooperation and the love of order have created a lasting legacy. As we prepare to leave the Citadel, we carry the memory of its quiet strength and its enduring beauty with us, moving toward the lower streets where the heartbeat of the city continues its steady measure. We descend the wide stairs of the Citadel, leaving the high ground behind. The lower city stretches out before us, a grid of baked brick that mirrors the order of the stars above. Every street is straight, every corner a precise right angle, speaking of a plan conceived long ago. The atmosphere here is different, more intimate, as we move between the tall walls of private homes. The brickwork is cool to the touch. The surface is smooth and uniform. These are the same proportions used throughout the valley, a standard of 4:2:1 that provides a pleasing sense of balance. In the dimness of the evening, the walls seem to absorb the remaining warmth of the day. We walk along a narrow lane, the ground beneath our feet firm and well maintained. To our left, a wooden door stands slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of a central courtyard. A small fire burns low in a clay hearth, its orange glow reflecting off the polished plaster of the interior. The scent of wood smoke is faint, mixing with the earthy aroma of damp clay. A copper bowl sits on a low bench, its surface catching the silver light of the moon. We pass a workshop where the bead makers spend their days. Small fragments of carnelian and lapis lazuli are scattered across the floor, jewels of the earth waiting for the morning light. The bronze drills and stone saws are tucked away, their work finished for now. There is a profound stillness in this space, a pause in the creation of beauty that defines the city. Further down the lane we come across a public well, its circular wall built of specially shaped wedge bricks. The stone at the rim is worn smooth by years of hauling rope, a testament to the thousands of times water has been drawn here. A few droplets still glisten on the edge, clear and cold in the starlight. The water below is a dark mirror, reflecting a tiny patch of the sky. The drainage system runs beside us, a marvel of engineering that keeps the city clean and dry. Each brick-lined channel is covered with flat stones, hiding the flow of waste from the eyes of the citizens. It is a system of health and foresight, a silent guardian of the urban peace. We can hear the faint murmur of liquid moving deep underground, a low note that anchors the silence. In a nearby courtyard, several large storage jars stand in a neat row. They are made of thick terracotta, their sides decorated with painted motifs of leaves and geometric patterns. These vessels hold the grain and oil that sustain the household through the seasons. They feel solid and reliable, like the city itself, built to endure the passage of many lifetimes. A weaver's loom stands in the shadow of a balcony, the threads of cotton hanging like a silver veil. The fabric is fine and soft, dyed with the rich blues of indigo or the deep reds of madder. The wooden frame of the loom is polished by use, its joints fitting together with seamless precision. It is a tool of patience, a machine that turns the fruits of the field into the garments of the people. We move into a wider thoroughfare, where the larger houses of the merchants are located. These buildings often have 2 stories, with wooden galleries overlooking the street. The windows are small and high, designed to keep the interior cool while allowing the breeze to circulate. We see the silhouette of a staircase leading up to a roof where the family might sleep during the warmest months. The city is divided into blocks, each one a self-contained community with its own lanes and courtyards. This organization creates a sense of belonging, a feeling that every person has a place within the grand design. We feel the weight of this collective effort, the strength that comes from 1,000,000 bricks laid with care. The harmony of the architecture reflects the harmony of the society that built it. Near the edge of the residential district, we find a small shrine dedicated to the Mother Goddess. A terracotta figurine sits in a niche, her form graceful and timeless. A few dried petals lie at her feet, the remnants of a daily offering. The flickering light of a single oil lamp casts long shadows against the brick, making the figure seem to breathe in the half-light. The scent of the river becomes stronger as we approach the eastern wall. The Indus is a constant presence, a source of life and a path for trade that connects Mohenjo-Daro to the distant sea. We can hear the soft lap of water against the mud banks, a measure that has continued for centuries. The river is the pulse of the valley, the force that makes all this possible. A stack of timber lies near a construction site, the wood seasoned and ready for the carpenter's chisel. The smell of cedar is sharp and clean, a reminder of the forests that grow in the mountains to the north. These beams will soon become the rafters of a new home, supporting the weight of a family's future. The city is always growing, always renewing itself within the framework of its traditions. We pass a kitchen where the smell of baked bread still lingers in the atmosphere. The clay oven is still warm, its rounded shape a familiar sight in every household. A flat stone for grinding grain sits nearby, its surface worn into a gentle curve. These are the tools of the daily meal, the simple objects that connect the people to the land. In the corner of a courtyard, a child's toy lies forgotten in the dust. It is a small clay cart with wheels that actually turn, a miniature version of the bullock carts that fill the streets by day. It is a touching reminder of the humanity that fills these brick walls, the play and the laughter that animate the city. The toy is still, its journey paused until the sun returns to the sky. A shell worker's bench is covered with the white fragments of conch and mother of pearl. These materials are brought from the coast, hundreds of miles away, to be carved into bangles and ornaments. The craftsmanship is exquisite, each piece polished until it shines like the moon. The sea is present here even in the heart of the plains brought by the hands of the traders. The shadows in the alleyways are deep, but they are not threatening. There is a sense of security in the city, a feeling that the walls and the laws are strong enough to protect everyone. We walk with a slow, measured pace, absorbing the quiet beauty of the brickwork. Each stone was shaped by a human hand, each street laid out with a purpose. We find ourselves near a secondary granary, its massive foundations rising from the earth. The structure is designed to keep the grain dry and safe from pests, with ventilation channels that allow the air to circulate. It is a bank of life, a reserve that ensures the city will never go hungry. The scale of the building is impressive, a monument to the organization of the state. The late hour brings a chill to the skin, a refreshing change from the heat of the afternoon. We wrap our cloaks more tightly around us, feeling the texture of the coarse wool. The stars are bright and clear, their light reflecting off the whitewashed walls of the upper stories. The city seems to be dreaming, its thousands of inhabitants resting in the peace of their homes. We come to a small plaza where a group of elders might gather to discuss the affairs of the day. A stone bench runs along the wall, its surface polished by generations of use. The space is empty now, the only sound the distant call of a night bird. We imagine the voices that have filled this square, the debates and the stories that have shaped the history of the valley. The brick walls of Mohenjo-Daro are more than just shelter. They are a language of order and stability. They tell a story of a people who valued cleanliness, cooperation, and the beauty of the grid. As we move deeper into the lower city, we feel a growing connection to this long-vanished world, a sense that their dreams and our own are not so different. The path ahead leads us toward the artisan quarters, where the fire of the kilns and the ring of the hammer define the tempo of life. The artisan quarter of the city is a place where the pulse of industry never truly fades, even in these late hours. We walk along the narrow lanes, where the mud brick walls still radiate the warmth of the day's labor. Here, the scent of damp clay and wood smoke hangs in the atmosphere, a signature of the creation that defines this district. Every doorway leads into a space dedicated to a specific craft, a testament to the specialized skills of the people. In one workshop, we see the tools of the beadmakers, resting on low stone benches. Small nodules of carnelian, a deep and translucent orange, are scattered across the work plane. These stones have been chipped and shaped with incredible precision, ready to be polished into the jewelry that is prized from here to the distant lands of Mesopotamia. The patience required for such work is evident in the hundreds of tiny flakes that cover the floor like crimson snow. Beside the carnelian, we find the micro-drills fashioned from a special stone harder than the beads themselves. These tools are so small they are difficult to hold with fingers alone, yet they can pierce through the center of a bead with perfect accuracy. The craftsmanship is not merely about beauty, but about a mastery of materials that has been refined over many centuries. We can almost feel the concentration that filled this room only a few hours ago. Moving further down the lane, we pass the cooling kilns of the potters. The fires have been banked for the evening, but the large round structures still glow with a faint internal heat. Inside, hundreds of jars and bowls are undergoing the slow process of hardening. The pottery of this city is known for its utility and its elegant black-painted designs on a red slip, depicting the plants and animals of the river valley. Stacks of unpainted vessels stand in the corners, their pale surfaces waiting for the artist's hand. The shapes are remarkably consistent, showing the use of a fast spinning wheel that allows for mass production without sacrificing quality. There is a sense of order here, a standard of excellence that ensures every household has access to the finest wares. The silence of the kiln is a restful pause in the cycle of fire and earth. In the next courtyard, the metallic tang of copper and tin persists in the cooling breeze. This is the domain of the smiths, the men who transform the ores of the mountains into the tools and ornaments of civilization. A set of clay molds lies open on the ground, having recently yielded a batch of bronze flat axes. The metal is still warm to the touch, its dull sheen catching the light of the rising moon. We observe the delicate instruments used for the lost wax casting technique, a process that allows for the creation of complex, hollow figures. It was through this method that the famous small statues of the city were born, capturing the grace of dancers and the strength of bulls. The skill to balance the flow of molten metal requires a deep understanding of heat and fluid, a knowledge passed down through generations. The forge is quiet now, its embers buried under a layer of protective ash. Across the way, a weaver's workshop stands open to the evening, the large wooden frame of a loom dominating the central space. Strands of cotton, dyed in the deep blue of indigo and the rich red of madder, hang from the rafters like colorful banners. This city was among the first to master the cultivation and weaving of cotton, providing a light and breathable fabric for the tropical climate. The texture of the cloth is fine and even, a result of many hours of meticulous work. Baskets filled with raw cotton pods sit near the entrance, their white fibers soft and cloud-like in the dimness. The process of ginning, spinning and weaving is a long one, involving many hands and much dedication. Each garment produced here is a shield against the sun and a mark of the wearer's place in the community. The loom itself is a sturdy construction of timber, its weighted threads hanging straight and true. We come upon a large open area where the city's bricks are formed and dried. Thousands of rectangular blocks are laid out in perfect rows, a sea of terracotta that reflects the architectural discipline of the state. These bricks are all made to a strict ratio of 1 to 2 to 4, ensuring they fit together perfectly in every wall and drain. It is this standardization that gives the city its enduring strength and its clean geometric lines. Some of these bricks were dried in the sun, while others were fired in massive kilns to make them waterproof. The fired bricks are used for the foundations and the elaborate drainage systems, protecting the city from the annual floods of the great river. The scale of the brick production is immense, requiring a coordinated effort of laborers and craftsmen. We walk between the rows, feeling the immense weight of the city's physical history. A smaller workshop nearby is dedicated to the carvers of ivory. Long, curved tusks brought from the surrounding jungles rest on mats of woven reed. From these the artisans create delicate combs, hairpins, and gaming pieces. The ivory is smooth and cool, a luxurious material that speaks of the wealth and the far-reaching trade networks of the valley. On a low table we see a collection of small terracotta figurines, mostly of women and animals. These are the humble creations of the common people, perhaps used as offerings or as toys for children. A mother goddess figure, with her elaborate headdress and many necklaces, stares back at us with wide clay eyes. There is a raw, expressive power in these small objects that contrasts with the precision of the official seals. Speaking of seals, we enter a small chamber where the master engravers work. On a bench lies a piece of soft steatite, partially carved with the image of a majestic unicorn standing before a ritual brazier. The lines are incredibly fine, cut with a steady hand and a sharp copper burin. These seals are the signatures of the city, used by merchants to mark their goods and by officials to authorize documents. Above the animal figures, a series of mysterious signs is inscribed, the script of the Indus people. Though we cannot read these characters today, they were a vital part of the city's administration and communication. Each seal is a miniature masterpiece, a unique identifier that carried the authority of its owner across hundreds of miles. The stone feels oily and smooth, having been fired to give it a white, durable exterior. In the corner of the room, a small balance scale made of bronze sits beside a set of polished stone weights. These weights are shaped like cubes and are carved from chert, following a precise binary system. In this city, honesty in trade is not just a virtue, but a regulated standard. Every merchant uses the same weights, ensuring that every transaction is fair and transparent. As we leave the artisan quarter, we look back at the silhouettes of the workshops against the starlit sky. The neighborhood is a hive of quiet industry, a place where the raw materials of the earth are transformed into the objects of daily life. There is a profound sense of satisfaction in the work done here, a pride in the mastery of craft. The tools are laid aside, but the spirit of the makers remains in every brick and every bead. The shadows in the alleyways are long and soft, the mud brick walls absorbing the sounds of our footsteps. We move toward the residential areas where the families of the artisans are already deep in sleep. The transition from the workspace to the home is a gentle one, as both are part of the same interconnected grid. The order of the city is reflected in the lives of its people, a balance of labor and rest. We pass a small shrine where a single lamp still flickers, its light reflecting off a polished stone pillar. The scent of incense, perhaps sandalwood or frankincense, lingers in the air, a final offering to the gods of the evening. The city is a place of many faiths and many stories, all woven together in the fabric of the brick and the river. We feel the weight of the ages here, but also the lightness of a well-ordered life. Our journey through the lower city is coming to a close, but the evening is not yet over. Ahead, the streets widen as they approach the great residential blocks of the merchant class. We will follow the path as it turns toward the more private corners of Mohenjo-Daro, where the domestic routines of the night provide a final quiet chapter to our exploration. The wide avenues of the merchant quarter stretch out before us, paved with the same baked brick that defines every corner of this metropolis. The precision of the layout is striking, even in the dimness of the late hour. Each block is a perfect rectangle, separated by lanes that run straight and true to the cardinal directions. These streets were planned with a foresight that rivals any city of the modern age, a testament to a society that valued order and symmetry above all else. Along the base of the walls, a narrow channel runs, crafted with meticulous care from fitted brick and bitumen. This is the pulse of the city's hygiene, a network of drains that carries water away from every home. The ingenuity of the engineers who designed this system remains evident in every slope and join. We can hear the faint, rhythmic trickle of water moving beneath the stone covers, a hidden life force that keeps the city clean and healthy. We pass a doorway where a weighted wooden beam supports the lintel, its grain worn smooth by decades of passage. Inside, the house opens into a central courtyard, a private sanctuary open to the stars. The cool breeze of the evening circulates here, drawing the warmth of the day up and away from the living quarters. The walls of the courtyard are thick and sturdy, built to withstand the passage of centuries, while providing a quiet refuge for the family within. In the center of the court, a private well provides a constant supply of fresh water, its rim polished by the friction of countless ropes. The depth of the shaft reaches down to the water table of the Indus plain, a testament to the city's mastery over its environment. Beside the well, a large terracotta jar sits, decorated with painted bands of black and red. These vessels are used to store water for the evening, keeping it cool against the remaining heat of the sun-baked bricks. A staircase of solid brick leads to the upper floor, where the family sleeps during the warmer months. The steps are narrow and steep, built with the same economy of space that characterizes the entire district. From the rooftop, one can look out over a sea of flat terraces, punctuated by the occasional flicker of a lamp. The horizon is a soft blur of indigo and violet, where the sky meets the distant hills that border the river valley. The silence here is profound, broken only by the distant murmur of the river or the rustle of a palm frond. The merchant class lives in comfort, surrounded by the fruits of their trade, copper vessels, fine pottery, and soft textiles. In one corner, a stack of folded cotton cloth rests on a low bench, its weave tight and even. This material, harvested from the nearby fields, is the foundation of the city's wealth and its most famous export. The Indus people were among the first to master the cultivation of cotton, turning the white bolls into a staple of their economy. The fabric is light and breathable, perfect for the climate of this sun-drenched valley. Even in the half-light, the quality of the craftsmanship is apparent in every thread. We can imagine the weavers at their looms, their fingers moving with a grace born of 1,000 years of tradition. We move deeper into the house, passing through a series of interconnected rooms that serve as granaries and storage spaces. Large jars, tall enough to reach a man's waist, are filled with wheat and barley. The scent of dry grain is earthy and sweet, a reminder of the fertile fields that lie beyond the city walls. These stores are the insurance of the household, a hedge against the lean years, and a sign of the city's agricultural abundance. The walls are thick, providing natural insulation against the fluctuations of temperature. Small niches are carved into the brickwork, holding oil lamps or small votive figures made of clay. These figurines, often depicting mother goddesses or humped bulls, offer a glimpse into the spiritual life of the household. They are simple objects, yet they carry the hopes and fears of the people who lived here 5,000 years ago. In the bathroom, the floor is laid with specially fired bricks, tilted slightly to allow water to flow into a drain. The cleanliness of the city is not just a public concern, but a private ritual, practiced by every citizen. This commitment to sanitation is what sets this civilization apart from all others of its time. The smooth, waterproof surface of the bricks feels cool underfoot, a small luxury in the heat of the Indus Valley. Outside, the street is empty, the long shadows of the houses merging into a single tapestry of grey and ochre. The streetlights are absent, but the whitewashed walls of the upper stories catch the moonlight, guiding our way. There is a sense of safety in this order, a feeling that every stone has been placed with purpose. The city is a masterpiece of collective effort, where the needs of the individual are balanced with the needs of the community. We reach a small plaza where 4 streets meet, the corners rounded to allow carts to pass more easily. The ruts of wooden wheels are visible in the softer earth near the edges, though the main path remains firm. This was a place of meeting and commerce during the daylight hours, now returned to the stillness of the evening. We can almost hear the echoes of the merchants calling out their wares and the clatter of the ox carts as they move toward the great granary. A stray dog trots quietly across the lane, its paws making a soft padding noise against the brick. It disappears into a narrow gap between two buildings, seeking a sheltered spot for the night. The city belongs to the shadows now, a place of rest for man and beast alike. The atmosphere is thick with the history of a million small moments, each one captured in the dust and the stone of this storied place. High above, the Citadel mound rises like a dark island against the indigo sky, its massive fortifications guarding the heart of the city. We will eventually climb those heights, but for now we remain in the intimate world of the residential lanes. The scale of the city is immense, yet it feels human and approachable in its detail. Every brick tells a story of labor, and every drain a story of care. We pass a house where a loom stands in the courtyard, the warp threads still tensioned and ready for tomorrow's work. The weaver has left a small basket of dyed wool nearby, the colors muted in the moonlight. These are the small signs of life that make the history of this place feel so present. We can almost feel the texture of the wool between our fingers, a connection across the millennia. The windows of the houses are small and high, designed to keep out the dust and the heat. Through one we see the soft glow of a dying ember in a kitchen hearth, the final warmth of the evening meal. The family is long since asleep, their dreams perhaps filled with the sights and sounds of the bustling market. The peace of the home is the peace of the city, a quiet harmony that persists even in the absence of light. The atmosphere is cooling rapidly now, the desert climate asserting its influence as the sun's warmth fades. We pull our cloaks tighter, feeling the texture of the coarse wool against our skin. The transition from day to night is a slow descent into a different kind of awareness, where the senses are sharpened by the quiet. The smell of the river, damp and fertile, becomes more pronounced as the wind shifts. We follow the line of a major drain as it leads toward the city's edge, where the waste is safely deposited far from the living areas. The engineering required to maintain this level of hygiene for tens of thousands of people is staggering. It speaks of a society that valued the collective well-being as much as individual wealth. This was a city that looked after its people, ensuring that the environment remained clean and sustainable for generations. The brickwork here is older, the edges softened by centuries of weathering, yet it holds firm. The durability of the materials is a testament to the skill of the kiln masters who fired these blocks. They have endured for 5,000 years, and they feel as though they could endure for 5,000 more. The permanence of the city is a comfort, a reminder of the enduring nature of human civilization. As we approach the end of the merchant quarter, the houses become smaller and the lanes more frequent. We are moving toward the outskirts, where the city meets the surrounding farmland. The bridge to the next part of our journey lies just ahead, where the river's presence becomes the dominant note in the evening's song. The water flows with a timeless cadence, carrying the stories of the city toward the sea. The transition from the paved avenues to the earthen tracks of the outskirts is a subtle shift in texture underfoot. The hard-fired bricks give way to a mixture of packed clay and fine river silt, which feels cooler and more yielding as we walk. In this transitional space, the city's rigid geometry softens, blending into the natural contours of the floodplains that provide its sustenance. A few stray goats huddle together near a low mud wall, their breathing steady and rhythmic in the quiet. The scent of dry grass and damp earth permeates the atmosphere here, a sharp contrast to the smoky aroma of the inner city. We move past a small cluster of granaries, their circular foundations rising like stone pedestals from the ground, holding the wealth of the harvest safe from the damp. The moonlight catches the smooth surface of a large grinding stone left out in a communal courtyard. A handful of grain still remains in the central depression, forgotten in the haste of the evening's final chores. The stillness of the stone is a testament to the labor that has concluded, leaving behind a sense of satisfied completion as the stars sharpen overhead. Further along the path, the sound of the river becomes a constant companion, a low and soothing murmur that anchors the senses. The Indus is wide here, its waters moving with a deliberate pace that mirrors the slow passage of the hours. We can see the silver reflection of the moon dancing upon the ripples, breaking and reforming in an endless cycle of light. Near the water's edge, several flat-bottomed boats are moored to thick wooden stakes driven deep into the muddy bank. The hulls creak softly as they nudge against one another, a gentle wooden percussion that blends with the rustle of the reeds. These vessels, which carry cotton and timber during the day, now rest as quietly as the people who pilot them. A small campfire flickers near a ferryman's hut, the orange glow casting long, flickering shadows across the tall grass. The fire is dying down, the wood turning to white ash that glows with a faint internal heat. A single clay cup sits near the embers, its surface polished by years of use, holding the ghost of a warm drink. The reeds along the bank are tall and thick, swaying in a breeze that carries the chill of the northern mountains. Each movement of the stalks produces a dry, papery whisper, a secret conversation between the land and the water. We pause for a moment to listen, letting the natural music of the riverbank wash over us in the dimness. In the distance, the silhouette of the great granary rises against the sky, a massive structure of timber and brick. It stands as a monument to the city's foresight, a storehouse that ensures no one goes hungry during the lean months. The sheer scale of the building is humbling, yet it feels protective rather than imposing in the soft light of the late hour. We pass a potter's outdoor kiln, which is still radiating a gentle warmth into the surrounding atmosphere. The fire has been extinguished, but the thick walls of the kiln hold the heat, protecting the freshly fired jars within. The smell of baked clay is rich and earthy, a scent that has defined this civilization for 1,000 years. A row of terracotta pipes lies partially exposed near a new construction site, waiting to be buried beneath the earth tomorrow. These humble segments of clay are the veins of the city carrying water with a precision that rivals modern engineering. They represent a commitment to order and cleanliness that persists even in the smallest corners of the settlement. The fields of wheat and barley stretch out beyond the city walls, a vast sea of silver green under the moon. The stalks are weighted with grain, bowing slightly as if in prayer to the fertile soil that nurtures them. The boundary between the city and the wild is a thin line, marked only by a low embankment and the change in the wind's song. A solitary watchman's tower stands at the edge of the cultivated land, its ladder pulled up for the night. From the top, a small oil lamp serves as a beacon for any late travelers returning from the distant villages. The light is a tiny, defiant spark against the immense shadow of the surrounding landscape, offering a sense of safety and direction. We find ourselves walking alongside a secondary canal, its banks lined with smooth stones to prevent erosion. The water here is crystal clear, reflecting the constellations with such clarity that it feels as though we are walking among the stars. The gentle flow of the canal is a reminder of the city's mastery over its environment, a quiet triumph of human ingenuity. A cluster of small circular huts made of woven reeds and clay provides shelter for the seasonal laborers who work the fields. The doorways are covered with thick mats of palm fiber, keeping the interior warmth from escaping into the cooling evening. There is a profound sense of peace here, a simplicity that strips away the complexities of urban life. Near a communal well, a large stone trough sits full of water, its surface as still as a mirror. A tethered bullock rests nearby, its large dark eyes reflecting the moonlight as it chews a slow meditative cud. The animal's presence is a grounding force, a reminder of the vital partnership between humans and the beasts of the field. The path begins to climb slightly as we approach a small ridge that overlooks the river valley. From this vantage point, the lights of Mohenjo-Daro appear as a scattered constellation of amber jewels resting on the dark velvet of the earth. The city feels like a living organism, breathing softly in its sleep as it prepares for the coming dawn. The atmosphere is thick with the moisture of the river, a cool mist that clings to our clothing and softens the edges of the world. This dampness is the lifeblood of the region, the source of the emerald fields and the towering brick walls. We breathe it in deeply, feeling the vitality of the land coursing through every atom of the atmosphere. A stone carver's bench sits beneath a sprawling peepal tree, the tools neatly arranged in a wooden box. A half-finished seal, depicting a majestic unicorn-like creature, lies on the workspace, its intricate lines waiting for the final polish. The tree's heart-shaped leaves tremble in the wind, casting shifting patterns of shadow across the artisan's unfinished masterpiece. As we turn back toward the city, the great citadel looms larger on the horizon, its massive fortifications guarding the heart of the culture. The brickwork is so precise that the joints are nearly invisible, creating the illusion of a single monolithic entity. It is a fortress not just of stone, but of ideas, a sanctuary for the laws and traditions of a storied people. The stars reflect in the slow-moving current, guiding our gaze toward the great citadel that rises like a mountain against the horizon. The brickwork under our palms feels cool, yet retains a faint pulse of the day's sun as we pass through the western gate. Here, the massive wooden beams are bolted with thick copper plates, guarding the entrance to the lower city. The scent of damp earth and river sediment follows us, mingling with the faint, sharp tang of charcoal from a dyer's furnace. We walk along the main thoroughfare, a broad street paved with baked bricks of uniform size, reflecting the meticulous order of this place. The drainage channels, lined with terracotta pipes, carry the evening's runoff away with a soft, rhythmic gurgle that echoes against the walls. It is a city that understands the flow of water, treating it with a reverence that borders on the sacred. To our left, a dyer's workshop stands open to the cooling breeze, its large ceramic vats filled with deep indigo and vibrant madder. The cloth, hanging from wooden racks, drips slowly onto the stone floor, creating small, dark pools that shimmer in the moonlight. The atmosphere here is thick with the smell of fermented plants and wet cotton, a testament to the industry that never truly sleeps. A few steps further, we find a small courtyard where a weaver's loom stands silent, its warp threads stretched tight like the strings of a harp. A basket of unspun cotton sits nearby, looking like a pile of fallen clouds in the dimness of the room. The wooden shuttle rests on a finished section of fabric, its smooth surface polished by years of constant use. We turn into a narrower alley, where the houses rise 2 stories high, their windows small and placed high to catch the evening breeze. The walls are coated in a fine, pale plaster that catches the silver light of the moon, making the passage feel wider than it truly is. There is a sense of profound privacy here, a quiet understanding of the boundaries between the public and the personal. In a small alcove, a bead-maker's bench is covered in a fine dust of carnelian and lapis lazuli, the remnants of the day's labor. A small copper drill, its tip still stained with stone dust, lies next to a pile of unfinished beads that glow like embers. The patience required for such work is etched into the very grain of the wooden table, a silent witness to 1,000 hours of focus. We approach the great granary, a massive structure of timber and brick that rises like a mountain in the center of the district. The scent of dried grain and sun-warmed husks is overwhelming here, a rich, earthy perfume that speaks of abundance and security. The wooden loading ramps are worn smooth by the passage of countless feet, their edges rounded by the weight of the harvest. A small fire burns in a terracotta brazier near the granary entrance, its orange light dancing across the geometry of the brickwork. A watchman sits nearby, his back against the wall, his eyes half closed as he listens to the murmur of the city. The warmth of the fire is a brief, flickering comfort against the encroaching chill of the late hour. Beyond the granary, the path opens up toward the great bath, its high walls casting long, geometric shadows across the plaza. The bitumen lining of the tank is dark and glossy, reflecting the stars above in a pool of perfect liquid stillness. The steps leading down into the water are wide and shallow, designed for a slow, contemplative descent into the cooling depths. The atmosphere around the bath is different, more refined, as if the very stones are aware of the rituals they have witnessed. The small, private chambers that line the perimeter are empty now, their doorways dark portals into a world of quiet reflection. We can almost hear the soft splash of water and the low hum of voices that must fill this space during the heat of the day. A priest-king's residence, or perhaps a place of high assembly, stands adjacent to the bath, its pillars carved from massive timbers. The floors are made of polished lime, so smooth that they feel like ice beneath our feet, cooling the skin with every step. There are no tapestries here, only the stark beauty of the architecture and the play of light and shadow. We find a small balcony that overlooks the residential quarters, where the flat roofs of the houses create a secondary landscape of stone and sky. Some families have moved their bedding outside, seeking the cool air of the evening under the watchful gaze of the constellations. The soft murmur of a lullaby drifts up from a nearby courtyard, a melody as old as the river itself. The city's layout is a masterpiece of planning, every street and alley aligned with the cardinal directions to catch the prevailing winds. This harmony with the environment provides a sense of ease, a feeling that the people here are not fighting the landscape, but living within its embrace. The brickwork, the drains, and the wells all speak of a collective intelligence that values the common good. We pass a communal well, its stone rim worn deep with the grooves of ropes used to haul up the life-giving water. A discarded terracotta jug lies nearby, its surface decorated with simple, elegant patterns of swirling lines and stylized leaves. The water inside is still cool, a reflection of the deep, hidden aquifers that sustain this sprawling civilization. A potter's wheel sits idle in a small square, a lump of moist clay still centered on its wooden plate, waiting for the morning. The surrounding shelves are packed with finished vessels, their shapes as consistent and perfect as if they were cast from a single mold. The earth here is generous, providing the raw material for everything from the houses we walk past to the cups we drink from. The scent of jasmine begins to drift over the walls of a private garden, a sweet, heady fragrance that cuts through the dust of the street. Inside, a small fountain trickles into a stone basin, the sound of water a constant soothing presence in the silence. It is a reminder that even in a city of industry, there is always room for beauty and repose. We move toward the eastern edge of the Citadel, where the fortifications overlook the sprawling lower town and the river beyond. The Indus is a silver ribbon in the distance, its vast current moving with a power that is felt rather than heard. The river is the architect of this land, the provider of the silt that feeds the fields and the water that cleanses the streets. A small shrine, dedicated to a forgotten deity of the hearth, holds a single flickering lamp that refuses to go out. The smoke from the wick rises in a straight, thin line, disappearing into the vastness of the midnight sky. It is a humble offering, a small gesture of gratitude for the safety and prosperity of the home. The brickwork of the citadel walls is thick enough to withstand the passage of centuries, a testament to the permanence of this culture. Each brick was fired in a kiln, tempered by heat and time to create a foundation that will outlast the names of those who laid them. We lean against the parapet, feeling the strength of the city beneath us, a solid anchor in a shifting landscape. As the moon reaches its zenith, the lights of the city begin to fade, leaving only the silver glow of the stars to guide our way. The silence is now complete, a deep, resonant quiet that seems to emanate from the very earth itself. We turn our gaze back toward the heart of the Citadel, where the last embers of the communal fires are turning to grey ash, signaling the end of another day in this storied place. The pulse of the city has slowed to a gentle, steady thrum, a cadence that promises a restful transition into the final hours before the sun returns to the valley. The moonlight, now hanging low over the western horizon, casts long, distorted shadows across the wide courtyard of the great bath. Here, the precision of the bricklayers is most evident, each block fitted with a mastery that has endured for generations. The water, held within the basin by a thick layer of natural tar, is a dark mirror. It reflects the constellations that wheel slowly in the heavens above. There is no movement here, only the profound stillness of a place designed for ritual and cleansing. The brick stairs leading down into the water are cool and smooth, under the touch of the evening breeze. Each stone was laid with a purpose, a part of a larger design that values purity and the collective good. We stand on the edge of this quiet pool, feeling the weighted silence of the Citadel as it rests under the stars. Nearby, the massive timber-framed granary stands as a silent monument to the city's foresight and organization. The wooden superstructure, though mostly hidden in the dimness, gives off a faint, dry scent of cedar and old straw. Beneath it, the brick loading platforms are cool to the touch, their planes smoothed by the friction of countless grain sacks. It is a storehouse of life, a safeguard against the lean years, resting now in the quiet hours. We move past the ventilation ducts, designed to keep the harvest fresh, and listen to the faint whistle of the wind through the gaps. The engineering is flawless, a testament to a culture that understands the value of preservation. The grain inside, wheat and barley from the fertile plains, represents the labor of thousands. It is the wealth of the valley, held in trust for the people who call this place home. We descend the broad stairs, moving from the elevated citadel into the grid of the lower town. The streets are remarkably straight, a testament to a level of planning that few other cities of this age can claim. Along the edges of the lanes, the covered drains run like hidden veins, carrying away the remnants of the day's labor. The brickwork is clean, the engineering so exact that the system remains functional even after centuries of use. In the late hour, the city feels like a living organism, its breath slow and steady. We pass a small workshop where the smell of damp earth persists from the potter's wheel. A row of finished goblets, all identical in shape and size, sits on a wooden shelf, waiting for the morning kiln. The consistency of their form is a quiet reminder of the order that governs every aspect of life here. In a doorway, a small stitite seal has been left on a side table, its carved image of a unicorn bull catching the faint starlight. Beside it lies a handful of beads made from carnelian and lapis lazuli, treasures brought from far-off lands across the mountains and the sea. These small objects speak of a landscape connected by trade and shared values, a network of exchange that spans the known map. The house is quiet, the breathing of the family inside, a soft, measured presence behind the thick walls. We wander deeper into the residential quarters, where the houses are built around central courtyards, open to the sky. From one window, the faint smell of wood smoke remains, the last embers of a cooking fire turning to white ash. A terracotta toy, a small cart with moving wheels, sits abandoned in the dirt of the yard. It is a humble reminder of the children who play in these streets, their laughter now replaced by the deep calm of sleep. In another corner, a weaver's loom stands idle, the half-finished cloth a pale blur in the shadow. The cotton, grown in the surrounding fields, is soft and fine, a luxury that this city has mastered. The threads are straight and true, reflecting the same precision found in the streets and the sewers. Every craft here, from the jeweler's art to the brickmaker's toil, is a thread in the tapestry of this civilization. We pass a public well, its stone rim worn deep, with the grooves of ropes used to haul up the life-giving water. A discarded terracotta jug lies nearby, its exterior decorated with simple, elegant patterns of swirling lines and stylized leaves. The water inside is still cool, a reflection of the deep, hidden aquifers that sustain this sprawling civilization. The earth here is generous, providing the raw material for everything from the houses we walk past to the cups we drink from. Moving toward the eastern edge of the city, the atmosphere turns more humid as we approach the river. The Indus is a silver ribbon in the distance, its immense current moving with a power that is felt rather than heard. The river is the architect of this land, the provider of the silt that feeds the fields and the water that cleanses the streets. In the pre-dawn chill, a thin mist rises from the face of the water, blurring the line between the land and the sky. We stand on the riverbank, listening to the gentle lap of the water against the mud-baked earth. A small fishing boat is moored nearby, its wooden hull creaking softly with the movement of the tide. The nets are hung up to dry, smelling of salt and river mud, a quiet sign of the industry that will resume with the sun. The river is the heartbeat of the valley, a constant pulsing force that never truly sleeps. The stars are beginning to pale, their brilliance yielding to the first grey light of the coming morning. The darkness is losing its grip, shifting into a soft, pearlescent haze that blankets the city. We look back toward the Citadel, its high walls and platforms standing out against the brightening sky. It is a storied place, a monument to human ingenuity and the power of cooperation. In these final hours before dawn, the silence is at its deepest, a resonant quiet that seems to emanate from the very earth. The city is waiting, suspended in the moment between the end of one cycle and the start of the next. There is no urgency here, only the steady, measured pace of a culture that knows its place in the world. We feel the strength of the bricks beneath us, a solid anchor in a shifting landscape. A small shrine, dedicated to a forgotten deity of the hearth, holds a single flickering lamp that refuses to go out. The smoke from the wick rises in a straight, thin line, disappearing into the vastness of the overhead sky. It is a humble offering, a small gesture of gratitude for the safety and prosperity of the home. The brickwork of the temple walls is dense enough to withstand the passage of time, a testament to the permanence of this culture. We lean against a parapet, watching the mist swirl over the lower town, hiding the streets in a soft white veil. The buildings emerge from the fog like ghosts, their sharp edges softened by the morning light. The city is a masterpiece of design, a place where every brick and every drain serves a purpose. It is a world of order and harmony, resting now before the day begins again. The first bird begins to call, a clear, sharp note that cuts through the stillness of the riverbank. It is joined by another and then another, a chorus of voices welcoming the return of the sun. The light is turning from grey to gold, touching the tops of the Citadel walls with a warm amber glow. The shadows are retreating, pulling back into the corners and the narrow alleys of the city. We take one last look at the great bath, its water now shimmering with the reflection of the morning sky. The bitumen lining, black and thick, holds the water as it has for generations, a silent guardian of purity. The city is stirring, the first signs of life appearing in the smoke rising from the rooftops. It is the end of the quiet hours and the beginning of a new day in this time-worn valley. The pulse of the city is returning, a gentle, steady thrum that promises a productive day ahead. We move through the gates, leaving the streets to the merchants and the craftsmen who will soon fill them. The memory of the silence remains with us, a calm and steady presence that we carry into our own rest. The story of Mohenjo-Daro is written in its bricks and its water, a tale of endurance and peace. As the sun clears the horizon, we let the warmth of the light guide us into a deep and dreamless sleep. The city is safe, its walls are strong, and its people are provided for. We rest now in the knowledge that the cycle continues and the world remains in balance. The journey through the night is over, and the morning brings with it a sense of quiet and lasting peace. Thank you for walking through history with me tonight. Until next time on Quiet History, sleep well.